For almost 2 decades, the United States was being attacked by someone no one could see. There were no phone calls, no warning signs, no demand for money or fame. Only packages. Ordinary-looking boxes arrived at universities, offices, and private homes. They sat quietly on desks or doorsteps. And when someone opened them, their lives would change forever. Some survived with missing fingers, burned faces, and lifelong trauma. Others did not survive at all. The person behind it all never showed his face. He left no fingerprints, no clear trail, and no name. For years, the FBI chased a ghost. They called him Unabomber, the university and airline bomber. The media gave him another name, the Unabomber, a boy who didn't fit in. Theodore John Kaczynski was born in 1942 in Chicago, Illinois, into a working-class family of Polish descent. On the surface, his childhood seemed ordinary. 2 parents trying to build a stable life. 2 sons growing up under the same roof. But Ted was different early on. Teachers noticed it. Classmates felt it. He was quiet, socially awkward, often alone. While other kids played together, Ted stayed inside his own head. But what made him stand out wasn't his silence, it was his mind. Ted Kaczynski was extraordinarily intelligent. He skipped a grade, then another. He absorbed math and logic at a level most adults couldn't reach. By the time he was a teenager, his teachers were already running out of ways to challenge him. At Evergreen Park Community High School, Ted skipped the 11th grade entirely. When he graduated, he wasn't just young, he was 16 years old. That same year, Harvard University accepted him on a full scholarship. To the outside world, this looked like the start of a brilliant future. To Ted, it felt like being dropped into a place where he didn't belong. Harvard, intelligence without connection. Harvard was overwhelming. Ted was younger than almost everyone around him. Emotionally, he was unprepared. Socially, he was isolated. He lived among some of the brightest minds in the country, yet remained painfully alone. He rarely dated, rarely socialized, rarely smiled. But academically, he was unstoppable. He dug deep into mathematics, finding comfort in numbers and logic, places where emotions didn't matter and rules made sense. It was during this time that Ted became involved in something that would later raise serious ethical questions. A psychological experiment. The experiment that changed him. The study was led by psychologist Henry Murray. On paper, it was presented as research into personality and stress. In reality, it was far darker. Participants were asked to write essays explaining their personal beliefs, values, and philosophies, their deepest thoughts. Later, those essays were used against them. Ted and other participants were hooked up to electrodes that monitored physical reactions. Then, one by one, they were subjected to intense verbal abuse, humiliation, and psychological pressure. Strangers attacked their ideas, mocked them, and tore them apart for hours at a time. Ted reportedly endured this treatment for more than 200 hours over 3 years. Many believe the experiment deeply damaged him, emotionally and mentally, but Ted never spoke publicly about it. He pushed forward, a genius on paper, a stranger to the world. Despite everything, Ted graduated from Harvard in 1962 with a degree in mathematics. He went on to earn a master's degree and then a PhD from the University of Michigan. By the time he finished his education, Ted Kaczynski was recognized as a mathematical prodigy. At just 25 years old, he was hired by the University of California, Berkeley. He became the youngest assistant professor in the school's history. To most people, this would be the dream. For Ted, it felt empty. Students described him as cold, distant, and uncomfortable in front of classroom. He struggled to explain ideas, not because he didn't understand them, but because he couldn't connect to people. Then, without warning, Ted resigned. No explanation, no goodbye, no plan shared with anyone. He walked away from academia forever. Choosing isolation, Ted returned briefly to live with his parents in Illinois. Then, in 1971, he disappeared into the wilderness. He built a small cabin outside Lincoln, Montana. No electricity, no running water, no phone. The cabin was tiny, barely enough room to stand and sleep. But to Ted, it represented freedom. He wanted to escape modern society, escape technology, escape what he believed was a system that controlled human behavior and destroyed the natural world. He hunted for food, grew vegetables, lived cheaply, occasionally worked odd jobs, sometimes accepted small financial help from family. For a while, it seemed to work. Then the world followed him. Anger begins to grow. Roads appeared near his cabin. Construction sites moved closer. The wilderness began to shrink. Ted grew angry. He believed industrial society was poisoning humanity, turning people into machines, stripping away freedom, and replacing real purpose with meaningless distractions. He began vandalizing construction sites, sabotaging equipment, damaging property. It wasn't enough. The anger kept building, and soon it would find a new outlet. The first bomb. In 1978, a package arrived at Northwestern University. It was addressed to an engineering professor named Buckley Christ. Something felt wrong. The package was returned to him unopened. When a security guard examined it, the device exploded. The guard survived, but his hand was badly injured. It was the first attack. No one knew it yet, but a long nightmare had just begun. The early bombings confused investigators. There was no clear message, no public claim of responsibility. The devices were handmade, carefully constructed, and designed to injure rather than explode loudly in public spaces. Whoever was behind them understood mechanics, patience, and control. The FBI quickly realized this was not random. Each device showed signs of craftsmanship. The bombs were evolving, becoming more powerful, more precise, more deadly. The person building them was learning from every explosion. And he wasn't finished. Escalation. Over the next several years, more packages appeared. Airline executives, university administrators, researchers, business figures connected to technology or industry. The targets seemed scattered, but they shared something in common. They represented progress, industry, or scientific advancement. Some bombs failed, others exploded. Victims lost fingers, suffered burns, carried scars they would never forget. Fears spread quietly. People became suspicious of mail. Offices trained employees to recognize strange packages. Universities tightened security. But the attacks kept coming, and still no name. First death. In December 1985, a bomb exploded outside a computer store in Sacramento, California. The victim was Hugh Scruton, a 38-year-old store owner and father. He was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. The device detonated, killing him instantly. For the first time, the Unabomber had taken a life. This changed everything. What had once seemed like a strange series of isolated attacks was now officially a murder investigation. The FBI poured resources into the case. They had to stop him. The FBI closes in. Slowly, investigators began linking the bombings through design similarities. Same materials, same construction methods, same careful handwriting. They believed the suspect was highly educated, possibly with a background in engineering, science, or mathematics. They also believed he had lived in or traveled between Chicago and Northern California. The case was officially labeled Unabomber. But despite thousands of tips and years of investigation, the bomber remained invisible. He wanted it that way. Life in the cabin. Back in Montana, Ted Kaczynski continued living in isolation. His cabin had no comforts. Winters were brutal. Food was limited. Loneliness was constant. But in his mind, he was free. He wrote constantly, long essays, angry reflections, philosophical arguments against modern society. He believed technology enslaved humanity, not physically, but mentally. To Ted, violence wasn't cruelty. It was communication. The bombs become deadlier. As years passed, the bombs grew stronger. Some devices were booby-trapped to injure anyone who tried to open them. Others were designed to explode with greater force. In one attack, a man lost most of his fingers. In another, a victim was blinded. Each explosion was a message. Ted believed he was fighting a war. The final killings. In 1994, another bomb killed Thomas Mosser, an advertising executive. Then in April 1995, a final deadly package arrived in Sacramento. This time, the victim was Gilbert Murray, a lobbyist for the timber industry. He never saw it coming. The Unabomber had killed 3 people, and the country was terrified. The manifesto appears. Then something changed. In 1995, letters arrived at major media outlets. Inside them was a massive document, a 35,000-word manifesto titled, Industrial Society and Its Future. The message was clear. If the manifesto was published in full, the bombings would stop. If not, they would continue. A dangerous decision. The FBI faced an impossible choice. Publishing the manifesto meant giving a platform to a domestic terrorist, but refusing could mean more deaths. After weeks of debate, Attorney General Janet Reno and FBI Director Louis Freeh approved the publication. In September 1995, the New York Times and the Washington Post printed the manifesto in full. Millions read it. Ideas that shocked the nation. The manifesto was cold, logical, carefully written. Ted argued that technology controlled human behavior, destroyed freedom, and separated people from nature. He criticized modern work, entertainment, and even science itself. He believed humanity needed to return to a primitive, natural state, even if it required violence. Many readers were disturbed. Some were confused. A few noticed something familiar. A brother recognizes the truth. One of those readers was David Kaczynski. As he read the manifesto, a terrible realization set in. The writing style, the phrases, the beliefs. It sounded exactly like his brother. David had already suspected Ted for years. They had grown distant. Ted had sent him letters filled with rage, isolation, and anti-technology ideas. Now, the proof was staring him in the face. Torn between loyalty and conscience, David made the hardest decision of his life. He went to the FBI. Linguistic evidence. David handed over years of letters Ted had written to him. Experts compared them to the manifesto. The similarities were overwhelming. Same sentence structure, same unusual word choices, same rhythm. This wasn't coincidence. The FBI finally had their man. The arrest. On April 3rd, 1996, federal agents surrounded the cabin near Lincoln, Montana. They expected resistance. Instead, they found a thin, disheveled man living in filth, surrounded by notebooks, bomb parts, and unfinished devices. Ted Kaczynski was arrested. The Unabomber was no longer a mystery. Trial and prison. Ted was charged with multiple counts of murder and illegal bombings. His lawyers wanted to argue insanity. Ted refused. He pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole and sent to the Supermax prison in Florence, Colorado, one of the most secure prisons in the world. Even behind bars, he kept writing. Final years and death. Ted published books expanding on his beliefs. He never apologized, never expressed regret. In 2021, declining health led to his transfer to a prison medical facility. On June 10, 2023, Ted Kaczynski was found unresponsive in his cell. He was 81 years old.